Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Lessons Learned. I'm Silly Lily, and we have Evil Butterfly. I don't know why Evil's in there because she's like one of the least evil people I have ever run across in my life. And I am very excited to get to know her a little bit better. And we have Top Badge Viva Diva, and I'm excited. I get to meet her. Well, you guys will get to meet her. I know who she is, but I'm excited. And I'm gonna let them tell you what they're gonna talk about. I feel like both of them are strong enough that they can handle that opening line. Um, you guys, we do a Q and Q at the beginning and at the end of every show. That was the Q and Q you've seen in the introduction. It gives you a quote, asks a question, and I'm gonna have you guys answer that here in a couple minutes, okay? And then in the middle, in between the two guests, we do a self-love, self-care segment. And I am also, before I introduce the guest, I'm going to give you guys a little homemade cough remedy. It's all natural, all organic, no medicines, and it's working like a charm. So I figured I would share that with you. I would also like to remind everybody that none of us are professionals. Okay, none of us are, we're not doctored in life decisions. Okay, this is simply a lesson that we learned in life that we think sharing with you might be beneficial. Might help somebody out going through something of the same thing. Or maybe to help us understand something a little bit better, right? So, really quick, any of you guys coughing? You guys ready for cough season? It's that time of year, isn't it? Any of you tired of coughing? Fresh pineapple juice. You have to squeeze a fresh pineapple and you mix it with honey. The fresh pineapple juice is a anti-inflammatory and the honey acts as a soother. Honey and fresh pineapple juice. Cool Dude says coffee. Hi, everybody. If you're just tuning in, welcome to Lessons Learned. I am Silly Lily, and we have two amazing guests today, Evil Butterfly and Viva Diva. And I am very excited to have them both here. Did either one of you care to go first or second? Do either one of you have somewhere that you have to be before I do the Q and Q so we can see? I kind of just let it go for who can go first. We kind of talk about it unless somebody makes a request prior to. I don't remember. You'll go first? Okay. All right. So give me a minute, guys. And then we will go ahead and we're going to do the Q and Q. And after the Q and Q, we will introduce her into the box. Okay. If this is something you are interested in being on, please reach out to Emoji J. He will go ahead and put his information in the comments. I want to thank all of you ahead of time for the gifts, for the favorites, and just for being here. I updated my name and it didn't save it. Oh, well, that's okay. So the quote for today is, "It amazes me that most people spend more time planning next summer's vacation than they do planning the rest of their lives. Forget about planning your life. Where are you going on your next vacation?" Where are you guys going? And if you don't necessarily have a vacation planned, where's a dream spot for you? What is your dream destination? Ooh, McDreamy says the Bahamas. That would be a wonderful vacation. I'm torn because I would love to go over and I think visit like Ireland, England, Switzerland, and like Bora Bora. Yes, yes, yes. That's on my bucket list. That's in the top 10. New Zealand. Okay, I've never been in New Zealand. I don't know much about New Zealand, to be honest. I love hiking. I love nature. So, and I don't like being cold at all. I am all about warm weather. Freezing my butt off is not my. Well, I would just plan to live each day doing your best, and you'll be surprised at the good things that come from that, I think. I'm not really sure what you're trying to say there, but I feel like if you're positive and you work hard, good things will come to you. If you're negative and you're lazy, well, I don't think very much good's going to come your way. If you guys are just tuning in really quick, we'll read this one more time. It amazes me that most people spend more time planning next summer's vacation than they do planning the rest of their lives. Forget about planning your life. Where are you going on your next vacation? Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Lessons Learned. We are about to introduce Viva Diva in the box here in just a minute, but we were doing a Q&Q, and I was asking folks, where's your next vacation spot? And if you don't have a vacation planned, what's your dream vacation? Or where have you vacation that you want to go back to? I love the Keys. Key West is absolutely amazing. Well, if you think negative thoughts, you will then continue to think negative thoughts. If you think positive thoughts, ooh, cruise to Aruba. Nice. Nice. Nick says Cuba. Mr. Cookie just says, I want to go bed. God, he says to sleep too. Oh, come on, you guys. Listen, if you work hard, you can make anything happen, you know? April, Tennessee. Can I ask why Tennessee, other than because it's gorgeous? I've only driven through. I've not actually stopped and gotten to enjoy Tennessee, but I've driven through. Dominican, okay. It's your hometown. Aw, nice. Nice. All right, you guys, are you guys ready to meet Viva Diva? Remember the rules. No cussing, no swearing, and you guys must be respectful to each other, to my guests, and to myself, or you will immediately be removed. Okay? There is a zero bully, zero BS tolerance in this stream. So just don't, okay? Please. This show is about, sharing a life experience, which it's not an easy thing to do. Otherwise, all of you would have been on my show already, right? You'd be fighting for spots if it was easy to talk about your problems, or not necessarily a problem, but something that you've dealt with. Okay. Should make sure that I phrase that correctly. Okay. So please, y'all, just be extremely respectful to my guests, respect one another. It takes twice the energy to be a negative Ned than it does to just sit there and smile or hit the X and move on. All right. Viva Diva, I'm going to let you in. You ready? I don't want to let you in until you say yes, just because I don't like to surprise you. Yes, all right. Yay. You guys, welcome. Hi, honey. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing very, very well. Thank you so much for coming to be on my show. I appreciate it.
Of course.
So what is our topic? I'm excited.
So I went through all of the things in my mind that I really kind of, and I just kind of settled on just, a spin on the whole, everything heals over time, and just more or less like from my faith. I'm a Christian, and shocker, you guys, my emojis are the thermometer, by the way, evil butterfly. Just shocker, I'm an ordained minister. So, a lot of times we're always told that, everything works for the good of those that love the Lord and things like that. But, that is the lesson that I've learned. I just turned 40 in October, and I can kind of I want to share the story of my relationship with my dad. I came from, my parents divorced when I was 9. It was kind of a very toxic, volatile situation when they were together. And then after they split, it also was very volatile on both sides. And, it hindered my relationship with my dad throughout my childhood. And around 20, things started happening, and I got very concerned about what was going on. And I sit down with my dad for the first time in my life to talk about what happened with my mother, with, him and parenting. And I discovered that so much of what I knew to be the truth was not so. I got one side of the story, and I ran with that, and I made decisions and judgments and acted accordingly, but I was a child. So fast forward, I have my son, my first child, at the age of 25. And I wanted to name him after my dad. My dad didn't really want that, but he's born my father's at the hospital and he's holding my son up with all this pride and, checking all his fingers and toes. And I get diagnosed with postpartum 6 months after he's born. And my father kind of looks at my stepmom and goes, wait, what do we think this is? What does she need for this to be okay? And she just said, I don't think she'd ever hurt the baby, but she may just drop him off on our doorstep one day and not come back. So for him, he's like, I don't want that. He started taking my son every other weekend, like we had a custody arrangement, and it was without fail, no matter what was going on. I would get a phone call on Thursday night, drop him off about 6:30. And this is an infant, okay? So we don't see our parents while they're parenting. We don't know the behind the scenes. We don't know who they are, we just know as a child, this is what it felt like, or this is what he was to me. So I'm watching my dad like change diapers and, have conversations with my son as he's growing. I can remember when he starts trying to talk, 9 to 10 months old, and he's trying to say things. And my dad's like, I don't know what you're speaking. I only speak English. English, and it was funny. And it was just like, what? He's a baby. He's like, I know, but he's not going to learn to talk if I don't make him talk. So fast forward, he's in kindergarten and my dad is just like, I don't like him having to get up early and drive from one side of town to the next. So he needs to just stay here. The school's around the corner. My father retired so that he could care for my son during the day. And, again, my dad was the provider in our household. So my dad left at 8 a.m. or whatever time to get to work for 8 o'clock. And he came back after work. We had dinner and we went to bed. So I never saw my dad in this capacity. But it wasn't until probably 8 months ago, I'm in my stream talking and we're listening to music. And I realized that my son was the catalyst for mending my relationship with my father's relationship with us, and a moment where my dad could redeem himself. Because as a parent, you always have these questions of how great a parent you are. And because I was open to hearing him out in my 20s and reopening and reestablishing a relationship with my dad outside of my mom and what we went on there, whatever went on there. When my son was born, my father had the opportunity to establish a relationship with my son. And in doing so, mended all of the things that I thought about my dad as a father and the things that I felt like he wasn't there for. Like, I have a whole new perspective. As children, you think this is what parenting is. You have a kid and you realize, okay, I was kind of wrong on this side of it. I didn't really understand this piece, but it's mended my relationship to the point now, like, I can call my dad about anything. We have conversations about my kids as though, like he told me the other day, he was just like, I got this to do and this to do. This is why I haven't been just doing stuff for the kids. And I'm like, you don't have to do stuff for the kids.
Right.
He goes, yes, I do. And that was the end of the conversation for him. So, over the course of 31 years, our relationship is in the best place it ever has been because of all of the things that took place beforehand. Like, I didn't know when my dad was being real picky. Like, I can remember when my son was probably 2 months old, my dad was like, he got eczema, he's got allergies and sinus problems. And I'm like, you are not a doctor. You're not a doctor. I'm gonna take him to the doctor. We'll find out he does in fact have eczema. He having, like, I can remember an argument with my dad about Vicks Vapor Rub and how it is not appropriate to lather a baby in Vicks. It's not okay. It's not what we do. You're gonna burn it. Like, I can remember all of these, like, back and forth, and it's a generational thing, right? Yeah. He told me, he was like, we used to eat that. And I was like, you're not supposed to eat it either. This is wrong. This is all wrong. But those things kind of mended that fence, like bridge that gap, and sometimes I think just even on stream, right? There's a gap between where you are, where I am. And sometimes have the conversation, not I ate it too, like having that conversation and understanding, okay, wait, you grew up in this time. This is how you grew up. This is what you know. This is what you understand. I kind of got a little information here that might help. So, you know, to this day, I tell people my son's never had a cold since my father lathered him in Vicks VapoRub. My dad was very proud that he knocked out whatever cold my son had, and that made him feel good about about who he was and what he was doing. And you know, for my dad, he'll never say it out loud, but it allowed him an opportunity to be present for everything.
You know, people eat Vicks. Out of all this right now, people really eat Vicks? Are used to?
I don't know if it was labeled that you shouldn't eat it at the time. My dad was born in the 50s. Let's be clear. My dad was born in the 50s. So I don't know if it was on the label at the time. It is definitely there now.
Okay, I'm sorry. The smell of it makes my eyes burn and my nose tingle, and I could not imagine putting that in my mouth.
Right, which is also why you're not supposed to lotion yourself.
The baby in it, because they could rub their chest and get it in their eyes or something. Yeah.
So, you know, I look at all of that, and I know what my dad being able to be there from day one and still here now, you know, watching my son grow, and even my daughter. I can remember when I got pregnant with my daughter, my dad had all of these issues, and you know, just to go a little bit deeper, right? Part of the reason my parents split was because my mom chose to terminate a pregnancy and my dad didn't want her to. That was one of the underlying issues that they had. However, when I got pregnant, because of everything I went through with postpartum, because I was a single mom and he was terrified for his daughter, like that was the first thing. He's like, you don't have to go through with this. So it shifts your perspective on things when you're in different situations. And, you know, I can remember the conversation of, he's like, I can't handle another baby. I'm not playing with this baby. I'm not doing all of this. My daughter is with my dad throughout the week because she's not old enough to be by herself. So, you know, when I think about all of the stands he's taken with me, with my kids, and I look at what he does now, I'm like, you do know this is the opposite, right?
Yeah.
You know, this is the opposite of what you said. You know, he's just as indulgent with them as he was with me as a child. Like I can remember I was that kid that didn't like anything my parents prepared, and my mom would be like, you're not getting up from this table till you eat. And my dad would get me a bowl of ice cream because it had milk in it. So, you know, at least you got some dairy.
Because it had milk in it?
Because it had milk in it.
I want your dad. Hello?
But as a kid, you're like, he's awesome. He's the best dad in the world. He always gives me ice cream. And he denied this for a good 5 years, y'all. He denied this almost my entire 20s until, and everyone thought that I was like, no, you're making that up. That was probably your mom. I was like, no, my dad is the one. And then he starts dealing with my kids on a regular basis, and my kids are there, and my stepmom starts to see how indulgent he is with the kids. Like, you know, instead of giving them one cookie, he gives them 3 cookies. When he has ice cream, they have ice cream. And she goes, she's been telling the truth this whole time.
Yeah.
So
that's funny that you mentioned the cookies and the snacks, because I think that was one of the biggest arguments I can remember my dad having with my mom's mom, my grandma, because and then to this day he'll tell the story. I remember you walking around with a full can of Pringles and 20-ounce pop at 4 years old. He goes, I'd walk in that house, I'd take that soda, give you juice. He goes, and I'd take about 5 or 6 Pringles and put them in a bowl and tell her never to let me catch you do this again. And he gets so mad.
Yeah, I mean, and there's always that, like my mom was just like adamant, you eat what you eat what we cook, and that's it, you know. And I do get a little bit of that with my dad because he now understands my mom's perspective of, I can't prepare multiple meals.
Yeah.
Like if this is what I'm cooking, everyone should eat that. I'm not gonna make her a separate meal. Granted, my grandmother did it for me. I was very spoiled as a kid now I'm thinking about it. But, you know, so now he's taken that same stance. However, you know, my daughter can say, I want this, and he'll say no. But if she asks him a couple more times, fine, go do it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he says it's us, but he's very soft when it comes to kids and people that are under his care. And it's amazing to see. And, you know, I think had it gone any other way, my father got his opportunity to have young children and watch them grow. And, you know, when he talks about my kids, this pride that he talks about, even when we're having a discussion about my daughter having 9 detentions because she's gotten referrals and tardies to gym, you know, he's like, yeah, she just does what she wants to do. I keep trying to tell her she can't act that way, she can't talk to adults this way. And I'm like, yeah, but you also got to stop her from doing it to you too. He goes, well, she's not disrespectful to me. You know, just the little bit of coddling on the disciplinary line. It's amazing to me to watch, because I think the most important relationship you have is with your parents, because they shape who you become, they shape who you are very early in life. And whatever foundation you have as a child, you know, it's there. But building upon that, right? Going through the stages of being a kid, a teenager, a young adult, full-blown adult, independent adult, because like adulthood is a lot of different phases, you know, and having a relationship with your parents that is reflective of where you are is important. Because again, if my life was built on what I thought of my childhood, what I thought of both of my parents, I don't know that I would be in this place. I don't know that I would have, you know, the lessons that I've learned, the things that I can sit here and talk about lessons I learned from my mom and her mistakes, and lessons I've learned from my dad and his mistakes. You know, the things that we talk about now are not the things I would have asked about when I was 16. You know, hearing my dad say, listen, I know, you know, one of the best apologies I've ever gotten from my dad was simply, I didn't know what I was doing. He was like, no one tells you how to be a parent, and no one tells you how to parent in a broken home. No one tells you how to parent when it's hard to talk to the mother of your children. No, I don't know that. His parents got together when they were teenagers and were together until they passed. So he's like, you don't know that. And I know I made mistakes, and I didn't intentionally want to hurt my kids, but I was also thinking like, this is the best I can do. And when you hear that from your parent, you also now understand as a parent, there's no right way, wrong way, perfect way of making little humans become great big humans.
Right.
So, you know, it takes the pressure off. So, you know, I can't imagine my life without going through this I don't know, circus of a relationship with my dad, right?
Yeah.
Because at times, you know, I step back and I go, wait a minute. He did this exact same thing with you. This is not news. You knew this. You need to counter, you know, the indulgence sometimes. You know, my father is a very straightforward man, and sometimes the things he doesn't praise a lot. He doesn't give praise. He's not oh, great job, oh, I'm proud of you. But I also remember when I graduated from college, I was the first one of his children to graduate from college. And I said to him, I know you're proud of me. And he goes, how do you know that? Because I know. So now when dealing with my kids, I'm like, just say something nice to her every now and then. And he kind of looks at me, nice. And I'm like, I forgot. Never mind. So I have to, you know, I'm the middle person. I was like, he's really proud of you. He's never going to say it. But you got to watch how he talks about you. And you got to watch his face. He's at every game and he's cheering you on, you know.
Yeah.
So helping that relationship. But my kids have probably the most stable person in their lives they ever could have. If y'all know me, y'all know I can be all over the place. I'm very free spirit. My mother was a free spirit, so I got a lot of that from her. But my dad is he's so predictable, and my kids have that. You know, they know where they can go. Like my son, when he gets mad at me, he wants to run away. He knows where to go. He also knows he'll have to cut the grass when he gets there, but sometimes it's worth it for him. So I love that over time I have watched everything work out for the good of my children and for me and for my dad in this situation, because we all gained something out of this connection. Here I am 40 years old, I'm still a daddy's girl.
Yeah. So if you guys are just tuning in, you're watching Lessons Learned. I'm Silly Lily, and this is Fiva Diva. And we covered a lot, but I think that what I'm taking away from this the most is that sometimes growing up, we don't understand the adult situations, and we don't realize until we're adults, like, holy crud, we make mistakes too. So sometimes you have to sit down and reevaluate, or sit down and talk with your parents if something bothered you, or if something didn't necessarily go the way that you thought it should. um, in some situations, one parent may not have a choice, and one parent may not be being fully honest. So she's rekindled what kind of, would you say it was like a disturbed relationship, a rough relationship?
I feel like it was disconnected. I won't say strained because I
That's
feel like
that's 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 why I didn't want to label it with that. So a disconnected relationship, and her being willing to sit down as an adult, and her being listen to this, willing to listen to understand, not listen to argue. Okay, that's the biggest difference in sitting down with people to try to understand our past. Is we listen to argue, we never listen to understand. But she was willing to sit down and listen to understand what her dad had to say, and now her and her kids have a phenomenal relationship with him. So thank you for sharing that. Before I let you go, please tell us when we can find you, what we find in your stream, the IG, where we find all that stuff.
So my IG is in my bio, Fiva Diva _POF. I stream. So I have a featured show as well on Sundays called Fine Arts with Fiva, and we talk about all things fine arts. This week's show, we are probably just going to be a painting. My theme is fire. I just feel like it's exploring when fire started to show up in art and what it symbolized is important. So we're gonna talk about that on Sunday. Mondays I do Mad Lib Monday. It's the kids game where you just call out nouns and pronouns and then you put them in a story. It gets very interesting. It's a lot of fun. The more people, the better, because you get to see where people's minds are. Let off steam. Wednesday mornings, I do Worship Wednesday. I play gospel, Christian music, inspirational music as well. So, just we come in, it's a moment, it's like an hour long. We just take some time to disconnect a little bit from the craziness and focus on connecting with a higher power. And, every last Friday of the month, this month it'll be the second to last or maybe the last month, I do a paint and sip, and I pick a canvas off of Amazon and order it. And we just sit and talk in the box and paint and drink whatever you want to drink. It can be juice, it can be wine, whatever you want to do.
Do you have people that get the same paintings or different paintings, or do you guys just?
I've had people that'll order the painting from Amazon. I've had people that just come and hang out. So it's a lot of fun.
The paint by number type painting? Or
yeah.
Is it like
some of them are just freehand and you can paint. So this is last month.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, this was last month, and I have a couple more. And it usually just kind of comes with a guide of what you can paint.
Okay. So I would need a lot of practice.
And that's the thing. It's just how you want to paint it. I don't require everyone to show it. It's not a take a picture and send it to me. I mean, if you feel like you want to, it's fine. But it's just a time to because Friday nights are usually auctions and all of the big stuff. So it's just a chill space and we chit chat. It used to be ladies' night, but the guys come in and they hang out in the box too. Most of them don't paint, unfortunately, but I would love to have guys come paint, just saying.
That would be awesome. Well, again, thank you so much. You guys, please hit her with the favorite. I'm gonna be coming to check out some of these painting things. I know that. I love doing that stuff. I'm artsy craftsy. Half of my wall over here is boxes and bins of arts and crafts stuff. So thank you for being here. I will let you go. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. If you guys are just tuning in, you missed Fiva Diva. And we talked about how sometimes as a child, we don't always understand certain situations with the adults in our life. And sometimes as an adult, you have to be willing to sit down and listen to their side of the story, because it may not be what you think. And you might be missing out on amazing relationships based off of that. You know, sometimes it's a mistake. Sometimes, like her dad told her, she said the best explanation her dad gave her was, I had no idea what I'm doing. You know, like I had no idea. And as a parent, especially with your first child, I'm on 2 and I still don't think I know what I'm doing. I'm this one's doing better than the first one, I think, so far anyways, you know. I mean, this one eats more vegetables and gets better grades, so isn't it, that's kind of what I think it's about. She's a lot more herself. Evil Butterfly, we're gonna do one self-care and one self-love, and then I'm gonna go ahead and have you hop in because I feel like we're gonna need a little extra time for your end too. Okay, so my first and main question for you is, what did you do for yourself today? What form of self-care have you done today? What did you do? Anybody? Can somebody please remove that? Made your favorite coffee, slept an extra hour, nice. I should have hopped on that train, but I actually got up so I could go into my friend the Chad stream before we started our morning show. A few of us have put together a Monday through Friday morning show called Triple Threat from 6 to 9. If you want to tune in or ask questions, I'll explain more about that later. Workout on the treadmill, nice, EB, nice. Coffee did your hair, nice. Don't you always, ladies, guys too, if you get up and you're having a good hair day, don't you just kind of, you're like, hey, I'll look extra cute, you know, like you feel cuter, right? Like the hair just adds the pizzazz. Mine's a little frizzy today, as y'all can see, but it's very soft and it's holding the curl. Zero complaints on my end as well. You're a triple treat. Our word triple treat. You're right. Thank you, cool dude. Triple threat, triple treat, same difference. Fred says, I just woke up. And Brian he's about to get ready for the day, shave his head. I'll have a nice fresh shaved dome. Bad hair days are hoodies and hats, correct? You guys. All right, if you guys are just tuning in, this is Lessons Learned. I'm Silly Lily. It is a featured show. Let's remember, be respectful to each other, keep things positive. Any and all negative comments will cause you to be removed permanently from my stream, and I don't undo it. A lot of people will undo it. So during my featured show, I just ask we remain on our extreme best behaviors. You know, like your mom would tell you when you were 7 before you went to family dinners, right? Let's remember those rules that mommy and daddy taught us, okay? Respect one another. Self-care tip of the day. You know what? Since we're on the topic of hair, I don't even have to look at the tips. Self-care tip. And I'm doing this tonight. Do you know why? Because my friend Shed Goddess and she is having a shed life crisis, and I am having a Lily life crisis, because although our situations are polar opposite, our entire lives are about to switch and flip upside down, for the good or for the better or for the we don't know. You know, we're not sure. So tonight from 7 to 9 in Shed Stream, we are dressing up. I bought myself a very cute little red dress to wear, and she has ordered a very cute little outfit as well. So we are dressing ourselves up to a T. We are grabbing some cocktails this evening, and we are going to dance our little buns off in the box to relieve our stress and pent-up frustrations from the week. Yo hablo inglés, no español. Lo siento. I think. Did I say that right? I don't speak English. I don't. Okay. All right. And self-care question number, well, I guess it's number 2 since I did the first one. Does your surrounding make you energized? It depends on which half of my room I look at, right? If I look at this half, not so much. But when I look at this half, I'm like, okay, I can do this. This is great. There's just boxes. It's just a wall of boxes. It gives me anxiety, you know? But I don't have a garage and I own a construction business. I don't know what else to do with it. I don't know what else to do with it. It's how I make my money, right? But all right, you guys. Evil Butterfly, are you ready? I'm excited for a lot of you guys to get to meet Evil Butterfly too. She's been coming around the streams for a little bit. I had the pleasure to meet her a few months back. And I actually, knowing her for as long as I've known her, okay, I was unaware of what we're about to learn about completely until she told me. Hi, gorgeous. How are you? I know, I'm so excited you're here. How are you?
Let me move my lights real quick.
You're good, you're good. No worries, no worries. So, please tell everybody what we're going to be talking about and discussing, I guess, in your words today.
I have Tourette's. I have Tourette's syndrome, and it comes out sometimes during my stream, and I'm very open with it. I'm not ashamed of it. I embrace it. And it has some secondary diagnosis that comes with it. So that's what we're going to be discussing today.
Okay. All right. So do you just go ahead and jump in however you want, or if you want me to pull up some questions, I can do that.
I guess I can start how I found out. When I was young, and all the way through until I got COVID-19, the one that was killing everybody, the main one. I got it when it first came out. Sometimes my arm would want to jerk, like I would want to just go like that and like stretch it out, and I couldn't figure out why. And it was a need to do it. Or my leg would just start trembling, like when you get really nervous and you shake your leg, but faster. Certain things here and there. And it just came out to be life for me, and it didn't happen that often. So jumping up until the first bout of COVID, COVID-19 first came out in July. I got really sick. I lost my smell, I lost my taste, all the symptoms of COVID. They came out in a hazmat suit to assess me because it was that bad. I was supposed to be hospitalized, and I didn't want to because everybody going into the hospital didn't come out. That was just a thing. Not one person came out, and if someone did, it was like a big thing on the news. So I was like, I'm gonna die at home. So I made it through it, but when I finally got better, I couldn't walk. And when it took me months to walk, and when I was able to walk, finally, I would curtsy. Like, when you curtsy and go down, I would take 2 steps and curtsy, take 2 steps and curtsy, take 2 steps and curtsy. I was like, what the hell's going on? I'm sorry. My leg was,
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. That one's okay. You just not the not the really bad ones.
I cuss like a sailor.
I do too. Trust me, this is the hardest hour of my week. When I tell you, yeah. Good. Anyway, sorry.
I would curtsy and curtsy like it was super hard, and to get me to move, my one of my daughters would have to like kind of give me a little push, and I would be able to walk. And then little things I would eat, and then my neck would turn all the way to the side, and I couldn't move for a long time. Like I could, but it was so hard to move. Like if I was like stuck. I called it downloading. Didn't know what it was. I thought maybe I had MS. Went to a neurologist, and the neurologist was like, oh, COVID doesn't attack the neural system, because they didn't know that yet. And I'm a retired nurse. I've been a nurse since '95, and I'm like, there's something wrong. I either have MS or I have Tourette's, because my daughter followed that trippy hippie, and she was like, Mom, you look like her. And so I finally went to go see him. I'm trying to make this short because so much happened. Oh, and I was saying different things like ho. I would say ho over and over, like incredibly fast.
We do
and I
have
couldn't
till
control
11:15, so you know.
Okay. I would say ho really, really, really fast. And then the number 2. I would just start saying 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and I couldn't control it or making a popping sound. with different movements. Like if I'd walk by something, I'd hit it, or I'd want to throw something, and I couldn't figure out what it was. So I did research. You know, it's a nursing thing. You like, oh, what's this? And then you do all this research on it. And he it's like he didn't believe me. And I told him I'm zoning out. It's like I'm downloading. It's like every so often I feel like I couldn't function. I was all there, but it's like nothing was making connection. And I called it downloading. The neurologist was like, oh, we'll check you for seizure, we'll check you for this. And I'm like, I'm having them. Oh, no, you're not. Well, nothing would come out. Nothing would come out. So one day I went to him, and you know how they do the squeeze your hand test? I had a seizure. They're called absence seizures, and they come along with Tourette's. That's one of the many pleasures that we have to deal with. So I went to squeeze his hand, I locked up. I seizured during when I squeezed his hand, and I could hear him saying, let go, but I couldn't move. So finally, after that, and this was like almost a year, he sent me to the University of Texas medical research for movement disorders, and they diagnosed me with Tourette's. Now, Tourette's you're born with it. So what happened was my Tourette's was not very noticeable, and it explains so much through the years growing up. But when I got COVID, I got so sick with COVID, it attacked my neurological system and bumped my Tourette's up 100 times. And I don't tick as bad as when I first got the COVID, but I still tick. And they put me on medication. There's no cure. There's not a lot known about Tourette's. They think it has to do with the basal ganglia, and it's not a mental retardation, whereas your brain's retarded where it's not working right. It's quite the opposite. Your brain is wired differently, and it's going 100 freaking miles an hour. So you want to do something, but your brain's like going, no, we're going to do this, and this is what's going to happen. You can stop them, but then for some reason they come back differently. But anyhow, they gave me medication, and what they do is they give you all different kind of psych medications for something you don't even diagnose with, because they slow down the brain. So medication, oh, okay, my body got used to it, let's up it. Oh, you're on the highest dose, let's give you another one. Oh, you're on the highest dose of that now, let's give you another one. I was walking around like a zombie. I was zombied out. I couldn't talk. I could barely walk. I got off of them. Someone actually told me I looked like I was on heroin. So that's why I got off. It was that bad. So I detoxed off from cold turkey. That was a miserable part of my life. And I won't ever go through that again or ever get anything, because the paranoia, the anxiety, the sleeplessness, your brain messing with you when you're detoxing off of that much medication. I think I was on like 5 different medications to slow down my Tourette's and my tick storms. So that was fun. But that's why you see so many people on TikTok or Instagram that have Tourette's saying that they don't want to be on anything, because the only treatment for it is to deaden your brain so you don't tick. That's it. That's all they can do. They can just fill you up with stuff to slow down your brain. I had to learn about it. I learned about it. There's not much out there. There's not much out there at all. So I learned about it through going to find people that were similar to me and being on a group on Facebook. There's many groups out there, but you have to find the right one for you that's very informative, and people asking questions. You know, they're putting me on this. Do you think it worked? What do I do with this? Because there's nothing out there for us. There's nothing. And I found this girl called Trippy Hippie. My daughter showed me to her, and she's very similar. She's very similar with her absence seizures. I've had some during my stream. It's kind of goes hand in hand with Tourette's. So does ADHD, which I'm very ADHD. And it's on the autism spectrum. It doesn't mean you're diagnosed with autism, but it affects the brain in the same way. So it's on the autism spectrum. And I get sidetracked. What was I talking about? That's a part of my ADHD. I get going.
Yeah, like, I'm ADHD too. So when you're like, I'm off track, I automatically went, oh, that stinks. oh crap, now I'm off track. So we're both screwed.
And then you're
Somebody.
talking and you're like, okay, I went off track. What did I start out with? The Trippy Hippie. She's amazing.
Hippie, yes,
Yeah,
the
I
TikTok.
follow her because she's very informative. She has a book out. She shows what she has on there. She has my same type of seizures. Hers are worse, but it lets me know that I'm normal. I'm normal. And I hate the normal word. I really do, because I have 2 children that have mental disorders, and we don't treat them as mental disorders. I have an autistic child that's high functioning and one with very high social anxiety. And we don't use the word normal. Everybody has something. Everybody's dealing with something. The term that people with Tourette's use is neurodivergent, is what we are, is because our brains are the same. They're just wired differently. We're still smart. We can still do everything. In fact, we do everything at a very fast speed, and our brains never slow down. So it's hard for us to concentrate on something long-term, as you can see, because my brain goes, wee. Yeah. So I don't really see it as a disorder. Trippy Hippie's very cool. If you want to see more about Tourette's, she's called that or this Trippy Hippie. And she's very good at teaching people about it. But I do have absent seizures. They come along with it, and they last a few seconds, but sometimes I'll have them back to back, where it's like I'm all there, I can hear, I can talk, but it almost sounds like I'm super, super drugged up, and like if you're gonna have a surgery or something, it's like you want to talk, but you can't talk. Yeah. I can move my arms and stuff, but they feel like they weigh 5,000 pounds. So it's easier just to sit there and write it out, and I call them downloading. What else? Ticks.
How long does that usually last, and is that harmful to to anything, or is it just?
I don't know. There's not much about anything, and so what I do, and is what a lot of us do, is you let it pass. It's like literally like you're downloading, like you're like like the little downloading symbol, and you just let it pass. But sometimes I have them back to back. Sometimes I have a seizure that I'm not quite sure what it is, but I get real tired. Not real tired, like I can't keep my eyes open. Like I have to close my eyes. So they come at me differently. And I've had a few on camera, and I just tell them, I'm having absent seizure, or I'm ticking, whatever. And I'm very open with them. What else? I'm telling you what I know about myself, because I really, like I said, it's hard to find information out there that's actually correct, other than doctors saying, oh, this is what you do, this is how it feels, and they don't even have it. So, it's like, how do you know? Because you don't have it. You don't know what we go through. I found out about tick storms. That's the only painful part in having Tourette's for me. Tick storms I usually get them at night, and I've read up on them, and I've talked to people that have them. Some are more severe than others. They almost look like seizures, epileptic seizures with some people. Tick storms are, the easiest way to explain it is you're ticking like you normally do, but it's at a supersonic speed. So fast that you can barely see it happening, but it's very painful, and it can last for hours. I've had them last for hours, and it's so uncomfortable and painful that you just want to cut off your arm or your leg or whatever's happening, and I cried on.
Exhausting too.
Yes, they're exhausting. They're exhausting. So there's those. That's about the only downside that I can think of mine is are the tick storms. So what else can I tell you that I know about ticks? Ticks are funny. That's why people think we're faking, because you do the dumbest things. I have one where I raise my hands up like this for no freaking reason, and my kids always go, yay, when I do it, like a little cheerleader, yay. I'll walk around the house. If for some reason, if you have an object in your hand, you either want to throw it or you want to hit stuff with it. And I'm not quite sure why. It's the weirdest illness ever. So I'll be stirring stuff or waiting. You know how you have a spoon or a fork in your hand, you're waiting for the microwave? I start hitting the refrigerator, hitting the stove, I hit the microwave, and I'm like, okay, we're putting the spoon down. My kids will come in and I'll like, you know what? I want to tap them on the shoulder. And I just do it because, I mean, they're so used to me by now. The dogs are used to me tapping them. I have one where my hand shakes like this. I have so many different ones. Some of my verbals are ho, the F word. The F word's funny. If I say it one time, it sets me off, and I'll say a couple times when I'm ticking. And by the way, we don't tick 24/7. I've heard that. Well, I haven't seen you tick. We don't tick 24/7. It comes and goes. What else? The number 2, that was a tick. The second one was a tick. That word will set me off. Repetitive sounds. There's all different types of Tourette's, and you can have a couple of them, you can have one, and you can switch them every time you have a cycle of ticks. We come in cycles. We come in cycles. A couple of days off, a month off, whatever, and then bam, it's back. So I have also, what else have I said? I have this weird noise I make, like when I take a deep breath, it's almost like like when you go like that, but it's worse. You can hear the force in it. I have a fake coughing one that's always fun. I'm like, it sounds like a fake cough so bad. I have a popping noise I actually went to the emergency room with that one when I wasn't diagnosed yet because I couldn't stop going. And I just couldn't. I literally did it for over an hour straight through. And then what else? There's just so many things. And what's funny about Tourette's is, and why people don't think it's real, because it looks so fake. It's like, how would you even make a noise or make a movement or yada, yada, yada. But if you put a whole bunch of people in a room that have Tourette's, you will pick up, there's different types of Tourette's, and I can't remember all of them. There's the coprolalia one where everybody thinks we all cuss. No, we do not all of us. But there's a repetitive one that I have that if I hear something, I will repeat maybe the last 2 words of it. Or if like the turn signal in the car will set me off because it's a repetitive noise over and over and over. But if we're all in a room together, we can pick up each other's ticks. If one person says something, the rest will start saying that same tick. It's almost like being at the office, but like the office with a whole bunch of ADD repetitive people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I really suggest for the people who want to know more, that Trippy Hippie, because she's amazing. There's just so much to learn about it, and it looks fake. And a lot of people will tell you, you're faking it, or you're just on drugs. My mom doesn't even believe I have it. That's how people don't understand it. My ex would just say, you don't have Tourette's, you're on heroin, because of my stuff. Yeah, I'm not with them anymore, needless to say. So and you'll see a lot of that if you watch some videos. A lot of them have the same problems with people saying they're faking it, because it's such a misunderstood, not well known, and silly looking illness to have. It's super silly. It is silly. How can you pick up somebody else's tick? We don't know. So it's just very weird. And that's pretty much as I can tell you about it, because I don't really know much about it. No one knows much about it. We know it's incurable. There's no treatment for it. And that's it.
Well, I hope hopefully they can figure something out through research in the future. I mean, I would think, just like you said, the sum of it, okay, it's different, but we're all different in our own ways. Every single one of us has got some habit or something that's a little different, but yet still the same to somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. That's why I don't like the word normal. I hate the word normal. No one is normal. Everybody's brain is like a computer, and they're all different, and they all glitch.
Yeah. All of us, every single one of us at some point, and yeah, but do
the ticks increase if I'm under stress? I'm sorry, Lily. Yes, they do. That's another thing about Tourette's. We have, it kind of intermingles with ADHD. You're oversensitive. You get oversensitized. You get too much info coming in, too much cold, too much hot. I can't be in the hot or the cold for a long time. It will set me off. You get oversensitized. It's like you absorb every freaking thing, and then you get set off.
All right, you guys, if you're just tuning in, this is Evil Butterfly. You're watching Lessons Learned. This is a featured show. Unfortunately, we cannot respond to all comments, but I want to thank everybody for your gifts, your time, the favorites. Evil Butterfly, they were asking if you could put a comment so that they could favorite you. I guess she was having something to get you favorited.
I stream pretty much daily. Silly Lily knows that. I met Silly Lily. I'm going to bump you up now. I met Silly Lily when I was streaming for like 2 weeks. I've only been streaming 3 months. I was about 2 weeks into my stream, and I was like stream hopping, and I saw her and Kitty Commander and a couple others in a box, and they were having a crazy hat contest. And I'm like, oh my God, I want part of that. So I went and got my crazy hat on, and that's how I met her. I was like, oh, I love these women. They can fit in here.
Here, watch this. Are you ready?
Here, watch this. Are you ready? I was like, I can be myself in this stream. I love this.
This one.
That was the first time I met you. And then the language and the humor, I was like, this is my crowd.
My crowd. I like it here, right? That's funny. So, you guys, if you missed the lessons today, we had Viva Diva in the box first, and we talked about the willingness to listen as an adult and to be able to change the dynamics of a relationship and take a disconnected, oh, you didn't have to leave yet. I wasn't done with you yet. I wonder, maybe she accidentally got a call and tried to end it. She'll be back. She'll be back. But yeah, here she comes. but now we'll be the butterfly. And she has been kind enough to get on here and talk. So during the first bouts of COVID, it caused her Tourette's to really sort of kick in, and she's been kind enough to come on. It's something that, like she said, there's not a lot of research, there's not a lot of stuff. So for her to come on here and to be willing to share that, it's awesome, because you know that there's somebody listening somewhere. Now they know to go to Facebook. They now know that there's groups out there just in case they didn't, you know? So I thank you so much for coming on. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add to it.
That just smoke, you will be okay. The stoner after my name is actually from Mr. Clean. They changed my name because he took my 300K. But I used to smoke, and yes, some people have tried herbal stuff because, like I discussed, we don't like the prescribed medication. It really zombies you out and you can't function. But to smoke weed, if you talk to people that actually have it as bad as I do or worse, you have to constantly, like 24/7 smoke to calm the tics down. That's how much weed it would take to calm them down. There's nothing that calms them down unless to deaden your brain, period.
Yeah, well, at least though with the medical marijuana, you can, you get it. It's a prescription. It's legal. You know what I mean? For those people, at least.
Yeah,
it may not always help and work, but at least it's something, and it's not the pharmaceutical. It doesn't. I guess if you take an indica, it could zombify you a little bit, but that's a whole other show.
Yeah, Texas hasn't legalized it yet. They're so conservative, but they did add Tourette's to the okay list for getting the medical prescription. And trust me, if they legalize it, I will, because that's usually when I smoked at night. If I had a tic storm, I'd get up and fill my bowl and take like 4 really huge hits and hold them as long as I could, and it would calm them. So if they ever legalize it here, I am definitely going to get my card, because they have added Tourette's to it. I think this year or last year, barely. And, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen here in Texas.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. It's medical, it's not recreational.
We don't, I used to do recreational, and I stopped last year because I can't do a lot of stuff, because since I had COVID, things affect my brain differently now. It really hit my neurosystem.
It's crazy how different things affect each person different. Even just simple, like the things like the COVID, how it affects each one of us so differently.
Yeah. It attacks your weakness. Now that they know that, it attacks whatever's weak in your body, and it keeps on attacking, and it doesn't give up.
Okay, see, I didn't know that either.
Yes, that's what the first bout of COVID did. The first bout of COVID, it would latch on. If you had heart problems, it would boost up your heart problems. You have diabetes, it would boost up your diabetes. So since my thing was my neuro with my tics, it hit my neuro system really hard.
I didn't know that.
Yes, I did a lot of research on it, and when I got sick.
I had it in February, before they knew it was like a thing, because they tested my daughter and I both, and my daughter had it worse than I did. I was just really tired and had a slight fever, but her fever was so high for so long that like her lips were blistered and red, and like it was a rough couple days. So and we're very healthy, strong individuals, and it did that to us. So that's why, like, I just
I was,
I
it
pray.
felt like I was breathing in glass. I had pneumonia real bad. They had to do a double treatment on me through the house. And I refused to go to the hospital because I figured if I was that bad where I had to go die in the hospital, I was going to die at home with my children. So,
And
yeah.
I feel like the positive might, you know, like you said, people who were going in, they were stuck in bed, they weren't with their friends, they weren't with their family, and they had all this stuff. And I know you were probably secluded, but at least knowing they were there, you know, and they could talk to you through the door, or put on a suit and you know what I mean?
Right.
And yeah, that for me was, I think, the hardest. And I didn't have to experience any losses from this COVID. Okay, I personally did not, but to have friends that call you sobbing, you know, grandma went in, we don't know if she's coming out, you know, and then you get the call, we lost her, we had to say goodbye, like we're talking right now, this was their final goodbye, this is how they had to say goodbye to the people that they loved, you know. And that oh god, oh that's
Yeah.
just crazy. But you
It's
know,
it's a scary thing because they just don't know a lot about it. It's something new. They don't know a lot about it. They don't know how the treatments are going to treat you long term, the long term effects. It's just, and it's always mutating. So it's like they're never going to know because as soon as they think they know, it mutates again.
yeah. Ugh. All right. Well, it is 11:04. Please let them know when we can find you and if your IG and stuff is linked through your.
Okay, I do have 2 fan pages. I only use them for there. Please don't send any penises. I get enough of those. I always tell everybody, you can add me, but don't send penises. I'm a nurse. I've seen plenty. I have 5 kids. Trust me, I know what they look like. But at the bottom of my profile, I have my Insta and my Snapchat link. You can follow me on there. I'll post several events that I'm in as they come up. I stream daily. I changed my hours. So I do around 7, you know, because I'm a woman and I usually run late. I do around 7 a.m. Central Time, and I'll get on for a couple hours. Sometimes I'll do around noon, sometimes if I'm not busy with my home life. And then I get back on again in the evening because I had some requests that people were working and didn't get a chance to see me. So I do evening around 7 Central. I'm on every day unless, you know, life hits and I have something to take care of, but I'm around.
All right. So
And we do mostly real talk. It's mostly real talk. We end up talking about whatever comes up. So if you're sensitive, you know, it might not be my stream.
all right. Well, thank you so much again, Eva Butterfly. I will let you go. If you guys missed the show today, if you're just tuning in, this is Lessons Learned, and we are coming to an end. We just had Eva Butterfly, and she hopped in the box, and she was giving us some really, really good information with, she has Tourette's, and COVID brought it out worse. So she's had to learn to deal with that. She gave some really good advice. So if you or somebody you know has or is, you know, has Tourette's and may have questions, you can reach out to her. She's got a page on Facebook with a large group of folks that deal with this. And then if you missed my first guest, Viva Diva, she talked about how pretty much a broken family, not having necessarily both parents around and not understanding. And sometimes you just have to sit down and listen to the absent parent. You don't really actually know what the reasoning behind things is, and we could salvage many relationships. And she called it a disconnected relationship. They were able to form this phenomenal relationship from a disconnected relationship, and all it took for her to do was to put her thoughts and her what she thought she knew aside and have a willingness to listen to him and to listen to understand, not listen to argue. Okay, so I'm going to end this here with my question and my quote. I picked one randomly. I still haven't read it. I've looked at it briefly, so I think it'll be okay. But we're going to end the Q&Q, and then I'm out of here till next Friday at 10 a.m. You guys, thank you for all the gifts. Thank you for all the favorites. Thank you for your time and for being here. So next week, we don't answer this now. I'm going to read it, but we don't answer it till next Friday. Okay? You ready, Jay? How we spend our day is, of course, how we spend our lives. What we do with this hour and that one is what we are doing. If you had 1 hour to yourself, what would you do? All right, Jay, get your shot. How we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives. What we do with this hour and that one is what we are doing. If you had 1 hour to yourself, what would you do? All right, you guys. Again, we will answer that question next Friday morning. I'm going to put this in my book so that it doesn't get lost. All right. And you guys remember, I love you, I believe in you, and never, ever, ever give up on your dreams. I'll see you before next Friday, but I hope you all tune in again next Friday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Bye, guys.